What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video on the modest house, we're gonna start with Greg is gonna wrap up the grade board while I'm out of town on a work trip, and then we're gonna move into the rest of our wall framing. So we did mainly the framing on one day, but we have all the incidentals, the odd framing, and we have headers to put up where our posts are not lining up with where our trusses need to go. So we're gonna get into that, and then we're gonna move on to truss prep, so that we can move on to the truss installation, which is always the best day, the truss day. So let's get into it.
Tired of this.
All right, so we're about ready for trusses here, and what we need to do is we need to make a quick header here. So we've got these two temporary 2x6s we're gonna replace with actual post and a header with a stub column where this truss is gonna go, as well as over here, if you guys remember back when we did the walls, we've got a post that is 9 foot, Greg? Yeah, it's 9 foot instead of 8 foot. That's because the door is right where an 8 foot post is gonna be, and we're also gonna header that. Once we get these headers done, trusses should be here in the next hour or so. We'll be able to start getting ready for trusses actually, and that, my friend, will be awesome. So what we're gonna do is create another column that's gonna go like right here. And we call them stubbies because they don't come all the way down to the ground. And then we'll header across so that the weight will be dispersed and carried over to a structural column instead of just on that truss. So this is where we need headers and post frame, is if you are carrying the load of a truss somewhere that doesn't have a direct load path to the foundation. Like most of these, the trusses will sit right here in the middle, direct load path right to the foundation. This one, it doesn't. So we have the header sending that weight over to the next nearest column and then down. So remember at the beginning of our post build, we made this sick story pole out of this piece of plastic trim, right? Well, this is the stubby column, and this is the location that our truss is gonna sit in, and this is just like the tops of all of our columns. But how do you know where to frame this, where to put it? Well, we can take our story pole. We've got the mark that says, hey, this is where our heel goes, right? So I can put this mark right where my heel goes. I know I'm gonna get a board right here because I can match that. This is gonna go 1.5 inches above our girt here. We want that because we're gonna do a stiffener board. Then I know from this point up, 5.5 inches is the top of my 2x6 at the very top, and we know exactly where to install our headers and everything. So once again, kind of we call it the Bible of the job site. The story pole is perfect to let us know exactly where things are. Even though we did post a long time ago, you might forget those measurements. You won't with your story pole. So perfect. I just don't let it go into my head, you know. I don't let the cold.
Do you even feel things?
No. Feelings make you weak.
Weakness makes you vulnerable.
Yeah. Nobody can take advantage of me if I don't care, you know?
That's one way to look at it.
All right, that is centered up with where this is supposed to be. Everything looks good.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw a 20. All right.
You want a screw gun? Just
Nope.
Okay.
This is how I warm up, Greg. Okay. Stubby column.
You want the screw gun?
Yeah, it might be somewhat beneficial.
What did he?
You know, the nice thing about the 2 foots is as long as you get your knee in here,
Yeah, you can lock
you're locked in,
Yeah.
and then I feel nice and safe. All right. Now, you may be asking yourselves, like, Kyle, I understand this header, like you want to support the weight of this stubby because there's nothing directly underneath of it to support the weight, right, of the truss. So you're transferring it to this column. Why does your 2x12 continue to go over to that column? And basically, it's because I bought 16 footers for this specific area because I didn't know that I was going to use this column at all. I thought I wouldn't even be able to. So I was planning on spanning this entire section. My thoughts are, Greg, probably one 2x12 is probably good enough for this, but we're gonna go ahead and run another 2x12 right underneath of it.
What if we just ran it on the inside on the bottom?
Well, I would much rather have it on the outside because the more frame we do on the outside, the easier it is to insulate on the inside. Did you crown this?
Nope.
I think I already did. Yeah, overkill. I probably could have saved a 2x12, but at 9 foot, I would have only had a 7 foot cutoff. It's kind of pointless for us, you know?
Right. Yep.
We wouldn't have really used it anywhere anyway.
Extra strength.
Here, go ahead and get me centered on 16.
You want this guy to be 16? What's the deal, brother?
What? No, right here. Get it on. Put a mark on 6. Put a mark or a nail here. Set it on there. Get it centered on 16, and let's nail the crap out of it.
Well, this one we're gonna wanna cut down to 16 exactly as well.
We will. I will cut it down there. Yeah, I'm just saying you can start doing that. You hear me? You hear me, buddy?
Not really.
Ooh, that's a knot. Nice. Wait. I'm gonna go lefty.
Well, if you're gonna go lefty, and I'm gonna go.
No, I'm gonna go righty.
Well, then if you're going righty, I gotta go lefty.
This thing's gotta stop shaking around.
It is bouncing like crazy.
I think I could probably, if we wanted to, we could probably get our end truss on with the skid loader. It's only a 32-foot truss. So it could probably sit on the forks and get up to 10 foot.
You're down like 3 feet.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get this up anyway. Let's get it done. We'll get it all mounted on these ends here.
You're putting this up with the intent and the hope that the telehandler will.
Yeah, so we know we can reach this. This is 10 foot. So we'll come in here with the skid loader and I'll pick it up. In fact, I might
Why don't we just pick
stand
it up now?
Yeah, let's just stand it up now.
That wind's gonna be brutal. But
no, it isn't. Stop being a baby.
Okay, hold it. Yep. Raise them up. You pushing, brother?
I'm hoping you are.
Man, it feels like you're doing nothing over there.
I literally feel like I'm doing everything. Okay. All right, just hold her there. Hello? Oh, you got the screw gun? Go ahead and screw up whatever your highest one you can get.
Come on, brother.
You kind of put your foot right where my board is supposed to go. It's good. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get a string line. Make sure the base is good. We'll get it fastened, and then this is all ready for trusses. Then
Wow,
we'll be good.
that's crazy.
See, so now we have this big opening we can come in and out of, and then whenever the time comes, we'll just frame a doorway right up to there, and we're good to go. Kind of a beauty of post frame, to be honest, is that, you know, if you were doing a stick frame, it's kind of a weird, you wouldn't really very easily be able to do this.
Well, you wouldn't have this big old opening to get your equipment in here and finish.
You could leave a wall section out,
Well,
but then
yeah,
you'd have to do a
okay.
weird header.
Yeah.
And with stick frame, you can't just put headers on the outside of your walls. You have to build them into your wall. So then maybe you'd have like a couple jack studs on each end of wall section. You know, this is nice. And we didn't. The nice thing is, because we can do a header on the outside of the post, that header is not a lack of insulation in our wall cavity.
Right.
That's the other bonus about post frame homes versus stick frame homes. Stick frame homes, you have either a double 2x10 with some plywood, maybe they have a spacer, maybe they're really good and thoughtful and they put some insulation in between them so that there's some thermal break, but there's no insulation for the most part above all of your windows and doors. Here, above all of our windows and doors, we will still have a full bay of insulation because our headers are on the outside or inside of a post. So it's a good one. Nice. All right, let's get this fastened. Okay, love it. All right, next thing we need to do before we get to trusses is there's going to be an end truss on the end of this house section to help define the roof, right? So what we need to do is get a way to place that, because right now there's no column in this corner. This column is gonna support the truss that goes this way to the other end of the garage. So we're gonna take a 2x, okay? We're gonna make our own column, and it's gonna go basically something like this. So this is gonna define the corner. It's gonna give us something to frame both the inside girts, so those will come into here, Notice we're doing very minimal framing because we don't really have a lot of weight to set on right here. Like we don't have a lot of weight being carried here. It's going to be spread across this whole wall. On the end truss, they are structural end trusses, but also the less lumber that we put into this corner, the more insulation we can have here in this corner. So that is the reason for this, because we'll come through here with a girt, and then we'll have to come in this way with another girt, which will give us a nice kind of somewhat continuous insulation here.
We don't come in because that is our girt.
Oh shoot, you're right, dude.
So we just dive.
So this is
right
it. So yeah,
yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. I'm looking at this wrong. I'm thinking about like normally on our interiors. So yeah. But Greg, we definitely want to do something different because this board, it looks straight.
Well, so that bottom girt is probably kicked over. I think it is. I didn't get the bottom, so that
that does look kind of dookie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So hopefully that makes sense. We're gonna cut this to the right elevation so that our truss will set right on top of this 2x6 up there at the right height. So we know the post here is at 9/16. So we'll take that number into consideration and cut a board, and then we'll make sure that it's nice and straight here. So 9/16, 5/16. Okay.
I got you, my brother.
Nice. Oof, that's probably too much.
And you go 3/8.
If only there was like some mechanism that we could like ratchet just a little bit at a time. Wouldn't that be nice?
No. Where's this going?
Right up there.
For what?
You're gonna lock it in like an X.
We're gonna exit?
Yes, I don't want it to move on us. Once this is done, we're ready to go.
Why not go to that side? Bring it back.
I mean, it's nice to not have to walk back and forth. You know that.
Give me, just give me.
Come on, let me
Just
throw.
give me it.
You're no fun anymore, dude. Now that you have like a kid coming, you're so responsible.
I got things to live for now. Sounds awful, but
What?
it sounds awful when I say it like that, but it's a good thing.
Okay, we're just making sure this is nice and plumb, this wall. Before we start kind of cranking this around, we gotta get this all, we want it to be nice and plumb. We should just do this on all the walls, but we're being lazy. What?
I mean that, oh.
Good. All right, now that we got that locked in, it's not going anywhere with the chains, we'll go ahead and finish this. Not that it helped us really any here, Greg.
I bet you it's because we didn't put that girt up top.
No, that's possible.
Only.
That's good. I'm gonna go on the outside, Greg, and pound in a board or a nail from the outside in, because otherwise we're just relying on these toenails, you know what I'm saying?
Well, well, why is that one different?
This building is ready for all the trusses but the end wall, which we will leave off until we're done. That'll be the last thing we do, which is all those door headers. So I think we're ready for trusses, which means they got dropped. We now have to get them all marked up and prepped. So let's go over there and do that. These are our valley sets. Instead of hand framing, we're just gonna, well, I just decided, heck, we'll just let the truss manufacturer make us a couple trusses. That way, when we sheathe this through, these are all set up for 2 foot on center. It'll be easy. We're gonna leave some on, Greg?
I'm just taking out the ones that go around the mall.
Okay. So people always ask us where to get their trusses, right? And we used to go through Atlas Truss out of Rockford, but now we changed because Atlas Truss got bought out. And I don't know if it's a bigger, broader company, but the name, that one you can't really see, is Rekemper.
I think the E's silent.
Wait, what? How would you make that E silent? Yeah, my very, very, very bottom is a little bit big, but that's just the bottom leg. I I'm saying we run with this. So here's the thing, it's very important. If we were just building a standard post frame and we're gonna put a metal roof on, which we are, but not just a metal roof, we're gonna sheathe this first. It's a home, we always like to sheathe our homes. A little bit more security, protection, sound deadening, hail protection, because when there's something solid under there, it's gonna give, you know, it's not like when a piece of hail hits the metal, it has give to it, it kind of, you know, gives it backing, right? What that means is we have to be very good about our purlin placement so that we hit all of those purlins with our sheathing. It's a little bit cumbersome because we are staggering our purlins, so all that stuff goes into consideration. So what we're gonna do is try to get these as lined up as possible, and then we're gonna come to the top and we're gonna think about, because we always make this mistake, Greg, I swear. We need to think about the way our sheathing is gonna lay out so that we don't have a joint right down near our tails. We want as big of a piece as possible to span over our tail area, and that gives us a little bit more strength for wind uplift or even snow load, like tilting down. So, you know, if we've got a 2 foot overhang, what I mean is we don't want our joint right here. We want it up at least a minimum of a 4 foot piece, usually a little bit bigger, and that's just the way it works out. But we need to do some thinking on our layout, and where we start here is how it will determine where we end up here for joints. And also this last purlin up at the very top, it's not just whatever the 2 foot layout is. This last one will be kind of, we'll maximize it as high up to the peak, because when you come out at an angle, it'll get a little bit gapped open. You'll see, we'll get there. But there is some thought process in a typical post frame where it's just metal. We just go 4.5 from the peak, and then every 2 foot, call it a day. It does not really matter. Here, we got to think a little bit more. All right, so we are actual 2 foot, 1.5, because of our all of our good stuff, like sheathing. And keep coming, my guy. Just keep on coming down. You're at 2. Keep coming low. Oh, right there. Okay. So this simulates kind of where our tail's going to be. Just go ahead and stay there for a second. So just as an idea, just so I can kind of think about it, we got an 8 footer, and then that's 15. So that works out pretty good. So we'll have full half, full half. Does that make sense? So really what we'll do is, let's go ahead and we just got to find a good spot to start from.
Well, we want to start up at the top.
I don't think so. Think about this.
Well, then
we've always started at the top,
right?
But in reality, this is the only part we straighten.
Depends on if we
because if the top is off at all, and then we come down and straighten this, because we're straightening our end to our post to our fascia. Do you see what I'm saying? So why not start down here with a nice straight line? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Does that make sense? Well,
because this one is getting cut no matter what, 4 foot.
I understand that, but if this doesn't equal 8 exactly, we have to cut this sheet too, and that's what we've messed up before. Is we made that mistake. We want the oddball to be adjusted somewhere else. So no matter what, every joint has to be 8 foot or 2 foot spacing.
I haven't drank enough coffee for this.
We've done this a dozen times, and every time we get to sheathing and we're like, oh, crap. We have a perfect 4 footer here and a 4 footer up there, but somewhere in the middle, our purlins had to be adjusted just slightly to make it work. And that's where we messed up. So back to, we're going to set this up to be, when we go low, we cut off 1.5 inches on the fascia, but that will still be 2 foot on center. That way the top is cut off. We don't have a weird joint in the middle, which we always do. You see what I'm saying? And I think we do it, Greg, because we don't have to think about it. And we just say, we'll deal with it later. Does that make sense? Here, let's do this one more time. You go ahead and hold me.
But that means all our tails are going to have to be cut.
Yes, all of our tails will have to be cut. That's right. That's a small price to pay. It's with a circ saw instead of having to cut all of our sheathing with a track saw up in the lift.
If I would have known that, I could have taken 1.5 inches off.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You know, this is good. Sometimes, you know, you've done things a million times, you think you got it all figured out, but then you realize, oh yeah, last time we totally messed up and we thought we had it. And then there's one little nuance that annoys us, and all we're doing is trying to take care of it. Could we do it like we've always done it? Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, but I just like to keep improving the process so that every time we do it, it's a little bit easier a little bit more thought out and better in the end.
Better pizza, better prices, Papa John's.
Hey Greg, what if we just had our supplier put our tails already on here? Then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure that's what all of you are saying. Dude, why don't you just have your tails put on and then you're ready to go and you just snap a line and cut the ends off. I've talked about this, and I know it is kind of conceptually hard to understand if you don't do it every day. But if we have our tails and they're just ran wild, okay, we install this and then we come up, snap a line like you would a lot of times with a stick frame home. What you have to do is you have to straighten your walls, lock them down. And that is actually the challenge, is in a post frame, locking down a post to a string line when you don't actually have, there's, how do I say this, imperfections in the trusses. The trusses are never perfect in a post frame, and maybe you guys don't care. When you get your homes, you know, you just kind of put everything up, straighten the wall, and if there's a little bit of oddities, you take it out in your fascia. Well, we could do that, but then when you look up at the, wall to soffit, we don't want you to notice where those imperfections are. I mean, that's my thought. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, I think if they're already installed, you're going to have to straighten each individual post in order to get a straight soffit line. Because if they're ran wild, you have to straighten each post, cut it all, snap a line.
It's really hard to lock every post down and then snap a line and then cut them. It's easier to lock down a wall with chains, straighten it with put your tail on at 2 foot or whatever your dimension is, and then we just run a string line, and the ones that are off we move, but we don't have to move everyone.
Correct.
And then we're good to go. So it's kind of like, how hard do you want to work and when do you want to work? But for us, a tail on the truss,
it's more efficient.
It just doesn't, it's more efficient for us in our process. If this is the high purlin, this is where I would want my high purlin centered on this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so this is my high purlin right here.
47 1/4.
Okay, so what we have to think about is our stagger. This is the high purlin. When we go to a low purlin, we'll cut some of this tail off, and then the sheet will drop down and we'll cut it off at the bottom. But this is where we want to start, Greg. This is our first purlin right here. And this is high side. What's this? 3 inches is what we got to take off. We got to take 3 inches off of this mark because it's going to come up 1.5 inches, and then we want it also underneath of our purlin. So 3 inches is what we got to take off. So whatever that is, 2.5 inches is what we take off of all of our tails. Sound good? And then this is 20 inches. We'll save this because we'll do this again on the next set of trusses. There. This one's not as important because there's nothing key here. There's no gaps. It's just sheathing will run wild. So that's the markings on the top cord. We also going to mark our bottom cord, but because these are only 32 foot wide trusses, and we're going to be coming through here with a drywalled ceiling, which means we have to do kind of a bunch of overframing on the underside of this truss. We don't want to waste a ton of lumber material time putting wind ties on every column. We're just going to run one down the middle. So let's just make a center mark, Greg, off of this guy here, and we'll just come right down. Sound good with you? So there's actually a couple things that when I was dealing with the truss engineer Carl from whatever that new truss name is, I don't know, it used to be Atlas. We've worked with Carl forever, so he kind of understands our design. He's the one that kind of added these horizontals up every 8 foot where our columns are. Great idea. But also something we've never done is talk to him about the spacing of this end wall truss girt so that it lines up with our sheathing. So we took that into consideration so we don't have to cut any of our sheathing. And then the other thing is we made sure that all of our bottom cords were the same dimension. A lot of times it's not the case, and when we run our bottom cord truss stiffener, our wind tie, it gets weird. So little things that we've been trying to think about every time we do a build. we try to do a little bit better. Where are the stickiest pain points for our job, and what can we do to change it? And that was the two things that we thought of on this one, is line up these girts and make sure all of our bottom trusses are the same. Something you would think after 12 years would be easy, but you know, I still forget sometimes. All right, so we got the trusses all marked. We're ready to start hanging those in the house side. That's the first pile, so we'll get the second pile marked when we're done. But Greg and I realized a couple things, okay? This is all like a clean 3/4 rock, and it is miserable to drive on with our scissor lifts. So what that means is we have a couple options. When we do these trusses up behind me, we're not gonna really be able to get our little scissor lift inside to work safely, to work efficiently. So we will have to stand up each truss, then we'll have to manually probably lift all of our purlins and then climb up on the trusses and then do all that purlin work. Or what we decided to do is we had the telehandler on site. So we're gonna go ahead and build our trusses on the ground. We've done it before and we liked it, so why not do it again? That's gonna save us a lot of work. But what that means is for today, we're gonna not take the path of least resistance and the instant gratification of building trusses and installing them. We're gonna go ahead and get these two door headers done, finish the wall framing so this building is completely framed. We'll never have to come in here with our machinery. And I know I said it was gonna be easier for the concrete guys. They'll still have a 10 by 10 door ×2 to get in and out, but this is gonna have radiant heated floors. So we're gonna have tubes. A truck won't be able to drive it anyway. We'll either have to use carts or buggies like we did at my shop, or we'll get a pump truck in here and just run hoses. So we've decided we're gonna go ahead and get this framed up. Let's get the last post. We've already made them up, Greg. Let's get our headers, and we'll get the rest of this framing done. Even though I wanna jump right into trusses, we're gonna do this first. Instant gratification is not always the right way. Just want to make sure we get the header heights right because we're going to have a dropped floor. So based off of our heel height, I know where the floor is. We're going to go 4 inches down. We were going to do 7 inches, but we kind of went away from that, thinking things through. We don't need a ton. We just want enough so that fumes in the garage don't make their way into the house. That's basically what this is about. But the bigger you go, if you know you're getting older and you want a ramp like a handicap accessible, the higher you are, the bigger the ramp, the further the ramp has to go out to have a nice easy grade going into the house. So we're gonna do 4 inches. That'll give the customer 4 inches of concrete to wash down the garage, so it's not going against any wood or anything, it's just going against the concrete. And then also we'll get a slight step into the house, keeping all those potentially harmful fumes from an automobile from going into the house when you open your door. Oh, this is at the wrong spot. All right, so that is what we're going to do. That is 2'5". 2'5". All right, this is my in-betweener board. I like that because that gives me an exact spacing of my door opening. Hello?
What happened to our RSSs?
The 10s? The 10 by 3 1/8?
Yeah.
I think they're in there.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
You sure about that?
No. I always like to square around. It helps me make sure that when I nail this, I'm close to square so I don't have to tweak it too much, which it looks like we're sitting pretty good. Hey, wait. Okay, do it.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't I trust you?
I don't know, why wouldn't you? pretty trustworthy guy.
Yeah, I've seen you hammer.
How did that work?
Teamwork, buddy. We got to do something on this.
Yep.
I'll probably put a board in there just as a stiffener for the garage door. Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
What, am I going to run into anything over here?
You need to kick it that way, just a smidge. Yep. Straight back.
What am I catching on?
This guy here.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. Just back out. I got this.
Man, you are...
Huge.
You boss that, man.
Huge.
Yeah, you are massive.
Huge.
Wow. Just get it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now go
Yeah,
ahead and
you should have the weight.
take her back, my guy.
Okay, I need a hair more.
Ready?
Yep, I can see it. Yeah, sure, right about there. I don't know. I don't want to take my whole pouch off, but hopefully I can get this to work.
Oh boy.
There. Oh, I don't think it will. Don't do this at home, kids. Good?
Yeah.
I made it work, man.
I do believe that wall is leaning out.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, do you believe it, or should we check it with a
My eyes say it is out.
Because we got this cool technology with this. I mean, it's pretty much perfect.
Is it?
Yes.
So what's this say?
I don't know.
Am I just getting an optical illusion?
This says that it's pretty much perfect.
In and out?
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I don't know. I didn't check this.
We should be good.
I mean, it's pretty dang close. There might be some wind on it right now.
So it must be the shadows that are throwing me off then.
It's that, let's see, 230. 230. By the way, and maybe you guys heard in the background a little bit, but we were getting some work done on the telehandler, and we've been fighting this telehandler for 3 years at least 3 years. We have been thinking our battery was bad. We've had electrical issues, things going, like getting so hot that they're like smoking when we start it. Well, I just had my buddy Seth, who's worked on some of our equipment, come out, and we're like, I think it's a starter, man. I think it's done. And he just put a new starter on, this high torque starter. Greg, How crazy.
Night and day.
It was insane when he hit that key, how quickly that started right up and sounded good. In fact, can I want to go over there and start it with me?
Yeah.
I want to go start it real quick because I've been struggling with this thing forever, and I want to just turn that key and feel it just come alive. Greg, I was getting close to just saying I'm done with this telehandler. Like I was going to send it down the road.
Send it down the road. Probably still should.
Maybe I still will.
Yep, now that it's running great,
sell
this
it
is when you send it down the road.
All right, here we go. And while he was here, I had him go ahead and do a service for me, so he changed the oil and all that good stuff. Are you ready? What? Dude, that has never started like that ever. Ever. I've had this for 14 years almost, and it's always been a dog. I just figured it was, you know, a big diesel motor or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it run and I need to throw some fuel in it.
Yeah, it needs fuel.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I've had this forever. It's just a 4-cylinder Cummins diesel, bulletproof engine. Like I just have a hard time getting rid of it, even though it doesn't have a cab. I can't run it with a remote control, but that makes me feel good now. I like it. I'm barely on them, huh?
Yeah.
All right, move those horses. That's why I like it, dude, on the edge. Keeps
I
us,
don't.
No, you're fine. The weight of it, dude, it's like, you ever played that game with the spoon? Ever seen that?
Yeah, where you got a teeter.
Put a spoon and it like, and it like teeters on its edge or whatever because of the low center of gravity.
Yeah.
Similar thing going on here.
Yeah,
It's basically a big spoon.
pretty much. I can see it.
Hey, over
really
here,
crooked.
see those gravel? The gravel? No, on my side. The post. No, come here, look. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, push that in there. All right, this is gonna be a little something, okay? There's a real good chance that it might want to rock off, so I'm gonna take it easy. Oh boy.
Okay, go ahead. Once you understand like what's happening, you know
Yeah.
how to manipulate the spoon, then you can kind of make it do whatever you want to do.
All right, that's good. I just like to keep you on your toes, my friend.
Can't see anything.
You don't need to, dude. Use the force.
Spidey senses.
I just think it brings a level of like inconsistency with your gloves. Like my hands hurt so much after a day of hammering with gloves on. Do you know what I'm saying?
You're trying to like squeeze a little bit extra hard because you
Yeah,
feel
'cause-
it moving around in your
Yeah.
hand.
I mean, it's not to make an excuse. I'm just saying that's.
Sounds like that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess. All right, guys, so we still need to finish these last couple framing members, but we don't have the lift warmed up. This is great lift work. We can bring the lift in here. It's gonna be easy. The next thing we wanna do before we tackle our trusses is we're gonna go ahead and get some chains up on the walls. You guys may have seen this before, but this is how we straighten these walls. So we'll get some chains out, we'll get the walls plumbed up, locked down, and then that'll be the last thing that we need to do before we do trusses, which will be tomorrow, and it will be in the next video. So stay tuned if you're excited for that, because we're gonna do it a lot more exciting tomorrow than we normally do it. I think. We'll see. I don't know.
No.
Do 2 over here. Nice. Perfect. Dang, Greg, you just went right up there.
What?
You just went right up there, no messing around or nothing.
Because I'm not old like you.
Oh, that what it is?
Yeah.
So you may be wondering, okay, Kyle, you're putting all these chains out, these binders, like how do you know where to put them? I don't. I literally just kind of stay away from areas that I know the chains will be in my way. So like that's gonna be a future doorway. This is a big opening for the garage behind us to get into the garage. Other than that, it's basically like we just wanna stay off of a corner, and that means if I put a chain in that corner out there, most likely it'll be in the way of my trusses, but everywhere else, it really doesn't matter as long as you can get a good X, and it's not gonna have to get moved between now and when you're sheathing the walls. So that's what I think about, but most likely even a house, there's a lot of windows, a lot of doors. You'll have to move it eventually probably anyway. I got windows kind of almost everywhere, so.
What the way we do the chains, I mean, you can still do the windows.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a little bit troublesome.
That one we'll have to move before we sheathe it, because that's around that block.
Yeah, but that's a corner one, so
Yeah.
we should be good.
We'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I think mine are frozen, Greg.
That's possible.
Oh yeah. One thing I will say, if you're doing chains and binders, put the binders at an appropriate location. Don't put them too high up. You think, oh, that's good, that's chest level, it's right here at my eyes. Yeah, it's hard to work. You want to put them right where you can get some good stink on them if you need to pull a wall over. And don't leave your buckets out and let them fill with water in the winter. Ooh, that's a little too tight. Okay, so I'm just snugging those up for now. And then, because you want your chain snug, if you just check plumb right now, and let's say it's a little bit close, you just got to move one, well then you have to move the next one. So if you just start with them both being pretty snug, usually there's enough stretch that they're going to be close and you can just do one or the other to get it tight the right way. So if that makes sense, it's easier to start with them both pretty snug. Okay, that can still go this way, scotch. And that could go that way. So that's good. They're both telling me they need to go this way. So that's a good sign. Now this one's pretty tight. So we're just gonna take this one off a loop, but that's not enough. So what that means is I'm gonna leave it where it is. Oh, that's a lot. I don't think that's the smart move. So what we can do here is kick it up a little. So we're not taking as much. And 89.9, probably good enough for the girls I run with.
This is what I'm gonna do. Raise this up a smidge.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically just one wall at a time. We don't have sheathing like a stick frame home that, you might build your walls on the ground, do your best to square them up, stand them up, and then that's it, right? Well, with post frame, we could sheath on the ground. It would be very hard to get everything in these columns where you want it, because there's always a little fudge factor, even if it's 1/8 of an inch. I don't want to beat the walls into submission to get them into these brackets. And if we sheath it, we lose a lot of that ability. So we have to get the walls up, then we lock them down, then we sheath them. That is a disadvantage, I would say, over stick frame. In stick frame, you can build your walls on the ground, stand them up, they're fully sheathed. Heck, you could put windows in, and some people even put some siding on. But we're still pretty fast. This took us one day to throw up, and another miscellaneous day of framing, and then what? Trusses probably will take us a day, Greg? Probably. Yeah, so it's not bad. Ooh, look at that. Huh. Greg, we got a bent We got a bent hook. What do you need?
My way.
Your way?
Yep.
That's not gonna be enough, right?
No, it needs to go a little.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to get
more.
this bent hook in here.
Honestly, probably like a half link.
Well. Ugh.
Straight 90, my guy.
Let's go.
Oh, you just crossed chains.
Did I?
Yeah. That might have been.
Good enough for the girls I run with,
Yeah?
brother. Yeah. All right, what's your eyeball say?
What's your eyeball say? And I'll tell you what my eyeball says.
Well, I'm looking at the background, and I want to say it goes to the right, but that telephone pole is leaning.
It needs to come to the left. When you pull it left, and then probably, if I was a betting man, I'd say it needs to go left probably 3/8.
Oh, hey guys, so the problem that we've learned is if you tighten one chain to, like, let's say we needed this to go that way, that 3/16 or whatever, and we tighten this chain only to bring it back, what happens is the wood under tension over time will continue to get pulled because this chain is probably stronger than that wood over time. Wood you can bend, you can mold it in moisture, you can make a boat, you know? I mean, that's how they do it. So we always want to get it snug where it's plumb. Otherwise, we've had that where we plumbed up one chain, come back a week later to do whatever, and it's like, what the heck? It just over pulls. Yeah, we got something going right here, man.
Chain's temporary.
Pride is forever.
Right.
But Greg, the problem is this doesn't give me the belly that I want to see.
Well, that's probably what we want there.
No.
If I was a bet, man. Oh, Lord.
No. You still got, I think the top needs to go over though. See that?
Oh.
So take my top over that much, at least. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't have much there anyway. So this is one of those instances where, I mean, when we put this 12-footer on, we can see there's a huge bow in this wall. And even though it's probably not going to be perfect, I like the plumb, Greg. Let's leave this because we'll have tension up top, tension here, and then the hope is that it will somewhat straighten out this column by time it matters. So we're going to use the tension to our advantage, knowing that it will over time kind of straighten out that post or continue to pull it the way we want it. All right, cool. So there we go, guys. We got all of our framing on the walls done. We got them all plumbed up. And I think we're ready for trusses. So that's gonna be on the next video. And I'm excited because we're gonna go ahead and do an entire, we're gonna try to build all those trusses on the ground. We got a lot of room out here and we don't have a good opportunity to get our machinery in here. So it's a good time to do as much pot as possible on the ground. Use the telehandler to get them up in the air. And yeah, if that interests you, make sure you guys check that out. It'll be the next video. With that, we're gonna clean up, get out of here for the day, go warm up, and we'll catch you on the next one.